Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So we're going to go over a kit today. This is going to be the kit for the 116th Infantry Regiment, 3rd Battalion in the Rhineland campaign. So, real quick, the Rhineland campaign is basically, you have 19th Corps under 9th Army, so General Simpson's army, pushing to the Ruhr River in the Rhineland. Rhineland is Germany's industrial heartland. They want to cross the river and completely take out as much industry as they can. So you have the 29th. They have about a month's rest for two of the regiments. They're coming from the siege of Brest. That's in Brittany and France. Now, the 116th, which I'm portraying, was actually, they were detached from the division. The regimental combat team was detached from the division, so the 116th Regiment and the 111th Field Artillery, they're detached from the 29th Division and temporarily put in with the 30th to help take Aachen. So they are the reserve regiment when this operation starts. So they are very soon put on the front line. However, they don't get a whole lot of rest. The division's at roughly 60 to 75% strength overall. So they've recouped some losses from Normandy and Brest, but they have not recouped to their full TO&E, and it will just get worse through the Rhineland. So they will eventually make it to the Ruhr River. They make it there in December of 44. So the operation lasts about 3 to 4 weeks. It starts November 16th. It ends right just before the Battle of the Bulge starts. So this is a very overshadowed operation for a lot of reasons. The Battle of Bulge being one of them. Market Garden that comes before it. The Hürtgen Forest taking Aachen. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is the impression. This impression has been taken from photos and video, well, film technically, of the division in the Rhineland at that time, and it was all taken by Army Signal Corps. So everything you're going to see is as authentic as I can get it to be, as far as what's being carried, worn, etc., to the time period. So I am portraying a technical sergeant. Technical sergeants are platoon sergeants. So this is your second in command of a platoon. They're not really equipped any differently as far as the TO&E is concerned from the regular riflemen. The platoon guide, which is a staff sergeant, which is like your last man in the platoon to kind of close everything up in the order of march. They're actually equipped with the M7 grenade launcher, like the Grenadiers. So without further ado, we're going to get into it. So this is my kind of lucky charm for reenacting. I bring it to every event, regardless of whether it fits the scenario or not. And that is my original cap. So this is an original. So is the DUI. And don't ask me how much I paid for the DUI. 1/16 stuff is expensive. But this is definitely a theater-made one, because they really aren't issued in the officer's gabardine. Right on. Wool shirt. Pretty much everything I wear is reproduction, clothing-wise and webbing-wise, because I tend to beat this stuff up a lot. And my original stuff I keep on mannequins, so they have mannequin displays. Patches are kind of like an exception for the most part, so rank insignia for sure. And on my shirts, I put original patches. On my combat jackets, we'll get to that, but I don't. So, moving on. We have a bandolier. So these just have blanks in them, as does my cartridge belt. M1, November 42 dated. All good to go, ready to rock and roll. Live or blank. So, that's all good to go. And I did have this in my haversack. This is the GI tank top. This is the only one I have. Normally you'd have more than one, but thing is, I can't find any in my size that are repros. Either places aren't being stocked or they're just selling out. As far as headwear, M1 steel pot, marked for the 29th, which is still common at the time. You really see it through the end of the war. It's a majority of guys, as well as hand-painted, obviously, leadership bar. Net should be OD7. You don't really see any OD3 helmet nets with the 29th from Normandy on. There might be the odd one, but they are all pretty much OD7. So moving on. Jeep cap. So this is an original. Obviously, it's got all the moth holes to prove it. And since this event is going to be a cold one, Veterans Day at Pamplin Park near Petersburg, repro scarf. I do have an original American Red Cross scarf, one of the knitted patterns. I just don't want to bring that out in case it rains and damage that. I'd rather not damage, especially soft stuff like that. So, repro scarf. Haversack. Everything on the haversack, everything webbing wise, with the exception of the entrenching tool and my canteen and cup, they're all from World War II impressions. ATF's just as good. The canteen and cup actually come from What Price Glory. They're the only ones that make repros of the 1918, and I just wanted something that was clean and not drinking out of yet. So just a quick look at the outside of this first before we look at contents. Meat can pouch, and I do have all my utensils in there. And my entrenching tool, I go for a Pickmatic most times, just to be able to kind of because I want to show it off. Pickmatics, if I remember correctly, are issued to 1 in every 10, and the hatchets are issued to 1 in every 12, and everyone else just gets an entrenching tool. So that means by the Rhineland, most guys have the M43. You still do see 1910s rocking around, but even by Normandy, it's mostly M43s with the 29th. M1 bayonet, still ready to rock and roll for that. So one thing I did not take out contents-wise, spare shirt, just an M4 or M37. Early war, not a special shirt, so it doesn't have the gas flap. Again, cartridge belt, and I do tape mine up. I just use hockey tape. You can get friction tape from Lowe's, Home Depot, hardware stores like that. I use hockey tape because I play, and it's just kind of always there for me. So, contents of the haversack. Not a lot. That being said, it is pretty much essentials. So, ditty bag made out of captured fabric by the Leningrad tailor. Leningrad tailor made that for me. Bob made that for me. So I'm using that until I get an HBT ditty bag. But shaving brush, that's an original. As is the razor. The blades are not. They're modern. But that's an original. Toothbrush is a reproduction, and it's mine. I've had it. It is not anybody else's. Never has been, so I do use this at events. It is nice. I got it from Ravenna Armory when they did a run with the 100th Division reenactment group several years ago. I think they still make them. Bar of soap. I usually just wrap it up in wax paper. I don't have a soap tin yet. Housewife, so this is my sewing kit. Comb. And I got hair oil somewhere in an original bottle. I don't use it. It's just for display. And then obviously a mirror for shaving. That's the shiny side. So that's what I really carry in there. Scarf. If it's not too cold, goes in there. If it is cold, the scarf is all obviously out and being worn. So 41 jacket. Yes, they were still wearing these in the Rhineland. In fact, 90% of the guys in the film that's on YouTube have them. It's an Army Signal Corps film. It's a silent film. It's just film of the men in combat, 175th and 116th. So first part is 175th. Second part is 116th. And it tells you in the description where it actually changes. So they are still wearing those. As far as enlisted men go, you do see 1 or 2 M43s, but they're not that common. Colonel Dallas of 1st Battalion, he is wearing one in Cedric. You can plainly see it, but he is also an officer. Moving down, M43 boots. So yes, this is basically, cosplay from the TV show Combat. because all they wore were 41s, wools, and the 43 boots. And as an aside, I have a modern bandage kit in here just in case something happens. Again, original stuff is for displays, not for being worn. At least in my collection, it's not. You do you. But 43 boots, these are SM wholesale. I've worn them a lot. Have a couple layers of mink oil on them, and they darkened up nicely. So these, believe it or not, are the most common boot by then. You actually see them coming into the division towards the later stages of the Siege of Brest. Colonel Dallas is seen wearing some with a 41 jacket, and there are a couple hazy photographs that look like they might be 43s, just by the way pants are being bloused. Excuse me. Wool trousers, pretty basic. And last but not least, the GI purse. So this is one of my favorite things. And this is an original. I got it for cheap. I do need to replace it. But you do start to see OD7 stuff come into the division. Late Brest, definitely by the Rhineland. OD3 is still kind of the most common, but OD7 is very much coming in. So the 28 pack being a god-awful design and very hard to get stuff out of quickly, I generally do what a lot of guys did. I put a lot of quick access stuff in here. A lot of GIs will tell you, or would when they were alive, tell you that they did toss their gas masks. That was a common thing. They didn't need it. They didn't think gas was going to be used, so they would chuck them. They did. I've talked to veterans who have done it. I've seen written accounts. It seems like it was fairly common just by the sheer amount of times I've heard of it being done. So they would carry extra stuff in here. Things I don't have in here are the spare pairs of socks. I use modern civilian hiking socks just for comfort. And you can get private purchase socks back then. You can have stuff sent from home, especially if you know, your family could send you that kind of stuff. Like, I think they'll send you a spare pair of socks. Come on now. But as far as what I carry in here, aside from the socks, rations. So I already did a review on that. That is the Hero Rations brand K-Ration dinner unit. Early war, obviously there's no squigglies and designs on the box, so it's fairly safe to use. I mean, it's still safe to use the morale rations with all the designs on it at that time, but this will get you through pretty much the entire war from the introduction of the K-Ration onward, for the most part. Not the very, very first, but pretty much the entire war is covered by that. Now, these are not Hero Rations. These are actually from Frontline Rations. So these are their reusable C-ration cans, early war B unit, mid-war B unit. And they're empty right now. And I do have some of the accessories from the accessory packet. So getting a little ahead of myself timeline-wise, but I just like showing ration stuff off because ration stuff is actually kind of cool. People don't really put a whole lot into ration stuff, and I think they should. Really makes the impression. People like seeing it. So Frontline Rations, if you get the accessory packet kit, it'll come with the matchbook that you just have to fold, put matches in, and a striker. So that's what I did. And they are stapled in. I did not do the best with the striker, but hey, it's the thought that counts. This coffee, this actually came from a Hero Ration C-Rat that I had. My other coffee tin is from Frontline Rations, same thing, but I filled it with hot cocoa. I'm not a coffee drinker. I gave the coffee grounds to someone else. Over here, Lucky Strike, the 9 box. There are no cigarettes in this. I'm not a smoker. I would probably just put some filler in there. If you are a smoker, put cigarettes in there by all means. I don't smoke, but they come with the rations. Wrigley's PK, upside down, focus, there you go. So, did not find anything in the right size. So I have 3 Trident whitening gum in there. But yeah, that's the closest I could get. I am still looking for stuff that fits that. And then the toilet paper, it's just modern MRE toilet paper. I've tried to make fit in there. Um, that's about the right wrapper. So there you go. Obviously, these are going to be filled up with some homemade B unit biscuits. It's going to be a little weird because the opening on the frontline ration ones are smaller than up here because they make them to be reusable just like hero rations. So you just pop this off. These are basically like the 1 pint paint cans. You just pop those bottoms off and you can take the stuff out. So if you try to put a B unit together with these, you're going to have to make the biscuits smaller or find small crackers, little small thin round wafer crackers to go in there. You can put sweets in there. The coffee tins obviously will not fit. They have that lip, so they won't fit in these. The Hero Ration ones, their cans are a little bigger. They open the same way, but the stuff inside is the correct size. So it's a weird trade-off, but the best part about both of them is you can reuse them. And just like in the video for this, you can reuse everything packaging-wise, with the exception of the accessory packet. They will send you refills for that and the can. But the actual inner and outer boxes of this, Hero Rations, I mean, you can reuse that. Now, that's about it. So this, I don't know if I said it at the top of the video, but this kit is going to be for a Veterans Day event at Pamplin Park in Petersburg. So it is going to be a little chilly. I've been trying to do my Rhineland kit properly. Problem is, the past 2 events I've used it at have been actually either warm or hot. So it just didn't look right. One thing I am missing that isn't technically necessary is going to be a set of gloves. You don't have to have a set of gloves, but a lot of guys have tried to get them. I need to pull mine out of storage, actually out of that box. This gentleman kept a lot of his stuff, and his gloves actually fit me. So I just forgot to pull them out. They're in there. A couple set of original wool gloves. I'll probably just grab the ones that aren't the most beat up. This event I'm not looking to beat up any of my kit at, but when I go to tacticals, which is the main reason I get repro gear, I will beat the snot out of this stuff. So, but that's just me. So this is the 116th Regiment, 29th Division in the Rhineland, late November 1944. And until next time, I will see y'all soon.